Alex, you came away from this and hearing Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony. How much of this has criminal implications for the former president?
Was the president's knowledge of weapons in the crowd and his statement essentially not to deal, don't worry about that, let him through. It suggests when there's later violence that he had some awareness of that and was willing to sort of be okay with that risk. The steps he took allegedly in the Beast also show a president who was very, very adamant about getting to the Capitol, even when his advisors advised him not to, when he was told it could increase the violence. That's extremely problematic. And then the discussions in the West Wing when he's back in the White House, where she testified about Meadows' conversation about the president really not caring about the fact that there were chants to hang Mike Pence. I mean, that's pretty damning stuff if you put that in front of a criminal jury in a criminal trial.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and wow, the stuff really hit the fan yesterday, didn't it? And you know things are about to go down when even Fox News admits Trump could be criminally convicted. Yesterday's hearings were shocking. A number of huge bombshell revelations were produced. And while none of it really surprises those of us who've had our eyes open for the last 5 to 6 years, the prospects for this nightmare to end with Trump behind bars just got a lot better.
The other piece that hasn't really been touched on was the potential obstruction of justice here. The text messages that this witness received about, President Trump is going to be reading these transcripts, do the right thing. That's pretty classic obstruction of justice. And I do think there's a whole avenue of potential criminal charges there that haven't really been discussed.
This is former Assistant U.S. Attorney Alex Little speaking in this clip. And he affirms that many, if not all, of those findings can convict Donald Trump of seditious conspiracy. So let's just do a quick rundown recap of some of those bombshell findings revealed yesterday.
You know what I discover with each and every hearing, and again, you have to rely on the people who are making the remarks, is that a lot of people were seeking a lot of pardons. And the newest additions, Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows himself.
If I'm a prosecutor and I'm building a case that so much is going to be focused on the state of mind of these individuals when they're taking certain actions, did they know what they were doing was illegal? Did they think it might be legitimate? The fact that they're openly discussing the president, giving them pardons, sometimes blanket pardons over a period of time, certainly suggests they knew in their own mind what they were doing was improper. It's going to be incredibly damning evidence if this ever gets to a trial.
Donald Trump knew that this was going to be a violent event, and he purposefully allowed armed lunatics into this event, saying that they were not there to hurt him, and even saying, take the effing metal detectors away. He knew bloodshed was imminent. He just didn't care as long as it wasn't his blood.
At a minimum, this is the leader of the free world, and he is clearly unhinged.
And that's why that moment in the limousine, if we hear corroboration from the agents, I think it's going to be very interesting whether those agents have talked to the Department of Justice already or not. Has some of their statements been secured outside of this committee process? That's certainly possible. But if you have a president who's been told, don't go to the Capitol, it's only going to inflame things, and he is so desperate to get there that he's physically laying his hands on folks who are meant to protect him, I think that's pretty damning evidence that what was in the president's mind was to get to the Capitol and subvert the will of the voters, at least as we understood it at the time. And that's incredibly problematic for him as you look at a criminal investigation.
Trump also assaulted his own limo driver. The Secret Service refused to let him go to the Capitol because it would stoke violence, and Trump forcibly tried to defy them, knowing it would create more havoc. And when chants ensued calling for Mike Pence's hanging, Trump said he deserves to be hung. Alex Little went on to comment saying, that's pretty damning stuff if you put that in front of a criminal jury in a criminal trial. And boy, was that an understatement. If this was any other human being, they would have been locked up for life 5 seconds after those Neanderthals broke the glass on January 6th. This is the most obvious open and shut case any of us have ever been witness to. And here's the thing, shouldn't the President of the United States be held to a higher standard than anyone else? Shouldn't the oath you take and the duty you swear to the American public, the Capitol Police officers, America's Congress, and democracy itself mean a greater obligation and a higher standard of conduct than anyone? This man committed treason on the highest level we've ever seen in the modern age, and the punishment should be swift, absolute, and severe. And look at Trump's demeanor, throwing utensils and ransacking the White House in a temper tantrum like a 2-year-old. It's disgusting. Even the Fox News host here admits that Trump is unhinged. This is an understatement. But hey, this is airing on Fox News, and so we should chalk this up as a revelation. We can only hope that people's eyes start to open, but I'm sure the right-wing propaganda machine will fight tooth and nail to their political graves. They will never give up the big lie, no matter how ridiculous. These people are completely void of honor, decency, and truth. But I'm convinced that if a conviction of Donald Trump comes out of this, our nation will heal, and it's the only way that we will heal. Donald Trump's conviction could be the linchpin in defeating corruption from our politics altogether. A wake-up call for all of us to be more active in our civic duties. All in all, this is the most critical time in American politics any of us may ever experience. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.